So can you address the quarterback change, and how do you believe that this will give you guys a lift and a boost?
Yeah, no, excited about the opportunity for Dylan, and obviously talking with Kevin and throughout the week on it. Felt like it was the right time for it. He's put in a lot of work to put himself ready to play. So guys have rallied around him. We got to all do our part to make sure that we can elevate the play of the quarterback and get the quarterback playing well. So, I know Dylan's chomping at the bit, and Joe's been there every step of the way to help support him through this process and, get him ready on this week here in London and getting ready to play Minnesota.
Tommy, are there other pages of the playbook that will now be dusted off with a different sort of skill set?
Yeah, you want to build what you do around a certain guy's skill set, make them feel comfortable, put them in, positions that, gives them a certain level of confidence in what they're operating. But look, we have enough in our offense that we feel like can tailor to both guys. So there's certainly some things that Dylan does that are different. Certainly things that Joe does are different, and it's our job as coaches to put him in that position.
What was it? Why was it? Did you guys feel like this was the moment to make this change? Was it just the turnovers becoming too much? Was it just a combination of everything? But why now compared to a week ago, or letting Joe go again?
Yeah, look, we all got to play better at a lot of positions. This is not singular just to the quarterback position. We all got to do our part around him, coaches included. So, obviously when we spoke, Kevin and I, felt like it was an opportunity to make the change, and really looking at it as a way to spark the offense and get things going.
Was there any consideration given whatsoever to making Shedeur the backup, and what sort of philosophy to having Joe being the number 2 right now?
Yeah, I just feel like, Joe's going to stay the number 2 right now, and, has done a lot to prepare and be ready to go, in a pinch.
Does coming over here this week, just the whole itinerary of the week, does it add any challenges to
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think, look, we have a good plan in place to how we're preparing. We got a lot of work done on the front end of this trip, got some extra walkthroughs, some extra time to make sure that, we did everything we could to treat it as normal as possible. Obviously knowing it's not, but don't see any real limitations, have a good plan in place as we get here, as we were back home. So felt like we had enough time to pour into the game plan.
Dylan said yesterday that he hopes to bring some juice, some energy to the offense. How does he do that?
Yeah, I think he just is himself. I think he's got a calmness to him, a real true confidence to his personality and his ability that I think guys have fed off of since he's been here. So it doesn't look like he needs to step far outside of who he is to do that for our guys.
What's the biggest adjustment you made this week for this matchup?
Yeah, I think just obviously with the travel and finding unique ways to get extra reps, whether it's walkthroughs or different ways to get our guys off their feet and still prepare them in the right way. But, getting here and finding more time, we got here, we got off the bus, we got moving right away. I think that puts our guys in a good, mindset coming into a long day, but we got plenty of work, which feels like they're preparing the right way.
This may seem like a weird question, but is there an advantage or benefit for Dylan making a start on sort of almost a neutral environment compared to, if it was a road environment or, even a home environment where, you get a disgruntled fan or something, whoever knows. But can it be a benefit to, starting him in kind of an environment like this?
Look, we don't evaluate that stuff as much maybe as the outside eye does. Like, we're so in tune to, all right, are we going to prepare the right way? Is our process there in the right way? Look, if you go play well, it doesn't really matter where you are. So our focus is on making sure that we put ourselves in positions to play well.
Do you feel like you guys maybe will be able to utilize more, a fair amount more of quarterback movement, maybe some RPO? And I know you're not going to give away the game plan, but do you feel like that might be something that could shake up and wake up this offense a little bit?
Yeah, we're looking at all avenues, right, to wake it up and to get the ball moving and score points. That's what we're after here. We want to play complementary. We want to score points and do our job. So certainly going to try to put Dylan in the best positions that make him feel comfortable to do that.
In the whole evaluation of Gabriel, how relevant was the 2-minute drive in the Rams game? Did that make you guys believe that he might be ready sooner than we thought?
I think you just look at it as a body of work. That was a good cap off to that preseason for him, and to go down the field in those circumstances, obviously a positive. But we really evaluated this throughout the entirety of training camp, of the offseason program, of preseason, and you're just looking for progression and looking for him to continue to improve. And certainly that was an opportunity where you saw improvement and you saw growth. So I think all of those add up to our evaluation of feeling like he's ready to go.
Tommy, if you can finally get some continuity with the offensive line, how much can that help?
Yeah, I think we've talked about that, right? I mean, those guys need to see it as one, passing off games, working in combination. That's so much easier when you're working with, a similar player or somebody that you have a lot of reps built up with. So hopefully we can continue to get guys healthy and build towards that.
Tommy, looking at left-handed quarterback, Mark Brunell, to those kind of things, anything that you guys see different, whether it's spin on the ball or even how you use your tackles or your guard,
Yeah.
having a left-handed?
You're so used to right-handed guys, so you even think like, all right, we want this going right. So you have to flip your mind a little bit on certain calls and certain things, but we do train our guys to have to do a keeper left, do a keeper right? Do some things that you typically wouldn't ask a righty to do. We are going to ask him to do that, so you don't limit what the playbook entails. So for Dylan, he's done all these things. Are there certain things here and there that you got to maybe think about? Sure, but it really doesn't change a lot in what you're doing.
Brian Flores is already a very challenging and difficult coordinator to go up against, but when he's facing a rookie, what kinds of things do you guys have to really watch out for with Dylan against that kind of a aggressive team?
Yeah, Flo does a great job, as everybody knows. Presents a lot of challenges, is very diverse in his scheme. Likes to pressure, likes to create havoc, likes to turn the ball over. That's kind of how he's made his hay here. But that he does that versus everyone, right? And so, we just got to, focus on our game plan, focus on the tools that we're giving the quarterback to handle some of those things, and allow him to go out there and play fast. We don't want to slow him down by trying to analyze everything. We want him to go out there and be able to play fast and play confident.
With Tillman obviously out, do you see Njoku, Fannin spending more time kind of without another big receiver out there?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys, are going to be asked to step up in a lot of different roles. Sed plays a lot of roles for us, wears a lot of hats, run and pass. So, challenge the group to step up in his absence, and I think we have guys ready to do that.